Hey, hi, welcome back. Hello world, welcome to my channel. My name is Amai. This is going to be a second part in the video series of how to build an MCP server. So if you have not checked out the first video, I'm going to put a link in the description below. And I highly recommend that before watching this video, you go through that first, and that will be helpful for you. So without further delay, let's begin on this awesome journey of knowledge. This is going to be the game plan for today. Last time we saw how to integrate our local MCP server to Cloud Desktop. Similarly, we are going to do the same thing, but this time with our Cursor IDE. Second, we are going to add some more tools to our existing MCP server. Third, we are going to use Cursor chat to perform GitHub operations such as git add, git commit, git push, and creation of a pull request. And finally, we are going to set up some rules in Cursor to orchestrate GitHub commands. In the previous video, if you recall, we integrated our MCP server with Cloud Desktop, and these were the results. If you remember, we had a get generate password tool, and it gave us these results. So now let's do the same thing with Cursor IDE. I'll show you how to integrate our MCP server and its tools with Cursor IDE. To do so, navigate to Go FastMCP website. So let me do that. Now you can scroll down to integrations and select Cursor. Once you select Cursor, we already have created a server, so we don't need this. And this is the command that we are looking at. So copy this command, open your terminal. I have warp. All right. Now go ahead and paste this command. But before that, I need to navigate to my MCP server location. Now it's not able to find MCP server or FastMCP, sorry, because I have not activated my environment. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's again run the command. Perfect. So what it did is it installed the demo MCP server on Cursor, and now we are going to see if it actually did that. In order to check that, go to your settings in Cursor and check if you have your MCP server installed correctly with correct tools. If I go to tools, perfect, I will see a demo MCP server here and type stdio, which is a transport protocol, and the command to run for it. Let's go ahead and install it. Now, since we have it installed, you can actually go ahead and check the tools available for it. So we have one tool, generate password. So let's go ahead and test if it works. I'm going to prompt it to generate me a password. So now what it is doing is, instead of generating me a password from a different source or an internet, I don't know if it can do that, but it's going to go ahead and call my tool and my MCP server. And like I said, the parameter is going to be none because I have not specified what is going to be the length and if I want to use the symbols. And this is the result I got back. So if you see, here's your randomly generated password. This is a password with 12 characters. Because again, if you go back to the code, the default length is 12 and include symbols is true. Now I'm just going to prompt for my sanity, generate me a password which is 26 characters long and don't include symbols. Let's see how it works. It should work. Again, it went ahead and called tool. If I go ahead and expand this, now the parameter is going to be 26. This is the request parameter, and include symbols is going to be false. And that's it. This is how you integrate with Cursor. If you noticed, we still haven't created a GitHub repository for this. So in my last video, I said that we are going to do it through AI. And what I meant was that we don't want to manually create a GitHub repository. And we're going to leverage Cursor and AI in order to create a GitHub repository and also do several operations like git commit, git push. So similarly, how we have a MCP server, GitHub also has a MCP server and it's still in preview. So let me show you where you can find it. If you're using GitHub Cloud, you will be able to easily find it. I'm not too sure about GitHub Enterprise versions, if they are supporting it or if your company has upgraded to the latest version. So for now, you can just go to your GitHub repository, click on your profile, go to GitHub MCP server, and if you see it's still in preview, click on it. And now you will find our documentation on GitHub. But what you need is, since we are using Cursor, right, just scroll down and go to Cursor. Now it will give you all the information on how to install GitHub MCP server in Cursor. The prereqs are Cursor IDE should be installed, which we already have. We have to create a GitHub personal access token, which I'm going to do in a moment. And for local installation, Docker is installed. We don't have to care about this right now because we are going to run the MCP server remotely. And there are two options to run the server. One is the local setup, other is the remote setup. But we are going to do this. So let's go ahead and first let's generate a GitHub personal access token. So once you open this page, right now I'm going to go for a classic, because in order to generate a new token, you will have to mention the repository, or I can show you. So how it works is you have to mention, all right, which repository you want access to. Public repositories, all repositories, only selected one. So you can just select your repository amongst it. But we are not going to do that. We're just going to go for a classic access token. And it will ask us for the expiry. My recommendation is just set it for, if it's a test account, just set it for 30 days because you don't want to make it non-expiration, right? If it's just a test account or if you're doing some demo. And then select all. It depends like what you want to do, but right now for this demo purpose, I'm going to select all. Notifications, users, delete repo, yeah, just give me all the permissions for my access token. All right, once this is done, I'm going to add a note here. What is this token for? So I'm just going to say GitHub MCP server. And now once I click generate token, it's going to generate a token for me. So bear with me. I'm just going to put this to a different screen because I don't want you to see my token. All right, it generated a token for me. And I'm going to copy this. And now let's go ahead and click this button to add it to Cursor. Now it asked me if I want to install an MCP server from GitHub. And let's keep the defaults as they are and just say install. So once it's installed, I think it's going to look for tools, but it won't be able to fetch them because I still haven't added my API token. So if I click at it, and if I scroll down into authorization, right, on line 19 is asking me for my GitHub token. So let me add that, and I don't want you to see the token. I'm just going to pause the video and add it. So now since I have added the token to my config in Cursor, let me go ahead and open Cursor. So once you do that, remember that you have to always restart. And let me pull up my repository. And now it's going to load all the tools from GitHub. Now, if you see, I got a warning saying that I'm exceeding total tool limit. That's fine for now. And if you see here, you have got 74 tools enabled for you in order to interact with GitHub APIs, and you can do a lot of stuff with it. So one example that I'm going to show you right now is I'm going to create a new repository using this MCP server. So go back to your chat, start a new chat, and ask AI to create a new repository on GitHub, which we called as, I want to name it the same way I have named my folder, where I go to my terminal again. This is the folder name. I'm just going to say, oh, stop. I don't need air for this. I'm just going to copy the folder name. And I'm going to use the same folder name as my repository name. You can use whatever name you prefer. So now it actually knew that, okay, I have a GitHub MCP server and these are tools available. So if I scroll up, it actually went through all the tools. It recognized, okay, I want to create a repository. So it called create repository tool, which is nothing but it's going to contact with the API. And oh, it already did create me a repository. So if I go back to my GitHub UI, I will be able to see a repository that is newly created. And if you see here, this is it. So this time we didn't do any manual creation of our repository. We just asked AI to do it for us once we have GitHub MCP server integrated with our Claude. Sorry, not Claude, but Cursor IDE. And you can also do the same thing with Claude desktop, to be honest. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase how in a single IDE you can do your developments. Now let's move on how we can create a branch and how we can commit on that branch, and then how we can have a pull request raised on the master branch. Now, since we already have a repository created, we want to sync it with local. So typically without AI, what you would do is you would go to GitHub and run these commands, right? But since now we have the MCP server with GitHub, we don't need to run these commands. We can just ask AI to init the repository for us. So what we can do is we can go to the chat and we can say init the repository existing folder, which is, so we want to find a current folder. And sometimes I feel we don't want to be that explicit, but on a safer side, I'm just going to give it a folder. And the remote repo, I'm just going to type a short form repo, is going to be this one. So now the AI is going to try to figure out, do we already have a folder? Do we already have a git init? And it's all going to do without our intervention. Let's see how it works. This is the first time I'm doing it. Oh my God. It actually went ahead and created a git commit, initial commit MCP server tutorial project. That is really awesome. Oh, interesting. All right. So if we go and see the summary, it initialized the git repository in the folder, added remote origin, which is perfect, added all the project files to git, made initial commit with message, initial commit, so and so. And this is perfect. We go back to our repository and check if it actually did that. And it did. So this was one example on how you can use AI to literally commit on GitHub without doing manual steps. Now I want to demonstrate how we can raise a pull request on GitHub. But before doing that, we already have checked in all the code as you saw previously. So now I'm going to add a new tool to my MCP server. And that tool is going to be, since we already have a generate password, my tool is going to be generates code for the password out of 10. So like I said previously, we are just going to use AI for all this stuff. I'm not going to use any document reference. And this is like the first time I'm trying with you. Let's see how it works. So we do have a server file and we do have a MCP tool generate password. So on the AI, let me create a new chat. And I'm going to prompt create me a tool which gives out the score for password out of, let me rephrase this, score for the password. The range is going to be 0 to 10, where 0 is the weakest password and 10 is the strongest. And if I don't want to complicate things, I can ask it to not use any libraries and just generate some custom logic on its own. But let's see what it does for now. All right, it's actually not going to use any library according to my knowledge. And that's fine too, because this is just going to be an example on how to raise a pull request. So we are fine with it. Whatever it creates, that's fine. All right, it added a lot of custom logic to it. And blindly, I'm going to accept it right now because this is just a demonstration. but I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Python libraries out there that can give you a score for a password. So let's go ahead and accept it. Now, since we have accepted the changes, we are going to see a modified file, which is server.py, not the only file that was modified. And now we are on a main branch right now, if you see here, and we want to create a feature branch. So we will just prompt in that create a feature branch for me and commit the changes. And with the help of GitHub MCP server, we are going to achieve that using just chat and not manually. Like traditionally we used to put a command get checkout branch -b and stuff like that. This is going to be straightforward. So we'll just prompt AI saying that create a new branch and commit changes. One more prompt I would like to put in is for commit message, use appropriate message depending on the code changes. So now what it will do is it will actually go ahead and create a new branch for me. And I have not specified any branch structure. So, it actually went ahead and did a good job of creating a branch with feature -password scoring tool. And that's how AI is powerful. Like we didn't specify any format for the branch, but it actually went ahead and did the right job for you. So now once it has created the branch, I think it did add the server.py and then it did commit with a good message. And in order to show you this, let me go back to my GitHub and select branches. So I have one branch here. Probably it didn't push the branch. All right, so now the changes are on the local branch. I'm just going to say push the branch. Now it did go ahead and push the branch on remote. Now if you see here, right, you will see a branch called feature /password scoring tool. And I didn't even tell the AI to do that. It already figured out on what is the good branch name. And if I go here, right, you will see the commit message that we got from it was add password strength scoring tool. And if you observe that we didn't specify anything to AI, we just said that create an appropriate commit message. And what it did was it actually went to the code. It found out what were the changes. Like we added some new tool. So what it did was it compared the changes, it saw the difference, and it came up with a GitHub commit message. And that's how powerful AI is. Now let me showcase you how you can create a pull request. So go back to your chat and just prompt that I want to create a pull request. I'm just going to do that. Or just say create a PR. I'm just going to show you an example. You don't have to type in pull request all the time. It will figure it out. It will figure out on which branch I'm on right now. It will figure out which branch it has to create a pull request. And like I said, it's going to use GitHub MCP server tools to create a pull request here, and it already created a pull request, and that's really awesome. You also got the details here. So now you can just click on this pull request URL, and if you see here, I didn't even ask it to add any description, but it went ahead and added description to the pull request, and that's really awesome. This is the thing that excites me. And if you had a PR template in your repository, it would actually follow your PR template, and it would create a pull request according to the template. Since we didn't have any PR template out, but it did a good job of creating a pull request. Now, since the PR is already out, in typical scenario, some colleagues would review it. There will be some comments. You will address that comments. But for this demo, I'm just going to merge it right now. You can also do it from AI. Actually, let's do it from AI. I don't want to use UI. Let's do it all through AI. So I'm just going to say scratch and merge the above PR. So I can say the above PR because I do have the reference already in the chat on which PR did it create. So let's see if this works. All right, it's going to call a tool called merge pull request, which is awesome, from GitHub MCP server tool. And now it's going to merge my PR. If I go back to my UI, awesome. It merged my PR to main branch from my feature branch, and then it didn't delete the branch, but then we can, from the same thing, delete my branch. And now it will try to delete my feature branch since we have already merged a PR, and it worked. If I refresh this page, I should see, yep, the branch is deleted. Coming to the end of the section for this video, I'm going to showcase how we can use rules in Cursor in order to orchestrate the GitHub commands that we saw earlier, right? We earlier did put GitHub commands one by one. So I'm going to showcase how we can do it with rules with a simple keyword. So let me go back to Cursor. And here, if you go to chat settings, and if you navigate to rules and memories, there are two kinds of rules: user rules and project rules. And we can dive in depth later in a different video. But for now, we are just going to use user rules. And in interest of time, I have already created a rule using AI, of course. Let me paste it here, and we can actually go ahead and see it. So what I'm trying to achieve here is I want to orchestrate my GitHub workflow. So the rule is actions, check current branch. If on the main branch, automatically create a new branch named feature / the description for the code changes. Then we want to stage the changes. So that's going to be nothing but GitHub add all the files. Then we want to commit the changes. Like you saw previously, we did git commit, and I said git commit with appropriate message. But this is the same thing, and this is kind of orchestration. Then we want to push the new branch and then create a pull request. So this is a text, and this text can be altered according to your needs. This is nothing like a structured format. It's a natural language text. You can add more checks or more validations if you want, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to say done, which will save the rule, and let's see how it works. Now, in order to demonstrate the rules for you, I need to have some code changes in my current repository. And right now I'm on a main branch, if you see here. So the best thing that I am thinking right now is to just update the README file. So I'm just going to prompt update readme.md, and this will give me some code changes. And with this, I can showcase you how the GitHub actions in the rules will work for me. So it's going to update the README file, and I believe it's going to do a pretty good job of updating it and capturing all the information that we have for our code base. And if you see, it's actually really doing a good job. So there's one more thing, one more lesson to learn, that for documentation, use AI, but just don't blindly use AI. If you have context to your code, or if you give more context, it will create a great document for you. Right now, I'm not going to check what it did for me, because I'm going to showcase you how the orchestration of GitHub would work with rules in Cursor. So I'm just going to accept it. Now, what I'm going to prompt is, I'm just going to say git push and follow rules. Hopefully, this will execute all the rules that I mentioned previously. I'm not too sure if I want to even have this in my command, but let's see. Oh, so now it actually went to my rules, and it's saying, since you're on the main branch, I'll follow your rules and create a new feature branch. So it's going to create a new feature branch, feature update readme documentation, which is great for a description. Then it's going to add all the files, in this case just readme file. Now it's going to think something. Anyway, let's go to the command. Then it's going to commit my changes to the new feature branch with the appropriate git commit message. If you see, I didn't specify any of it, right? And then it's going to create, or then it's going to push, and I think hopefully it's going to create a new, it already did, actually it already did a pull request for you. Yeah, if you go to your pull request, which is the link here, if you see, it did an awesome job of creating a pull request. So in order to recap, what happened was, we made some code changes to our repository. We were on our main branch. Then we added some rules on GitHub, saying that if we are on main branch, go check out a feature branch, all that stuff. You already know, we already did that. And then we prompted AI to just say, okay, git push my changes. And it followed the flow that we specified in the rules. And that's what orchestration is. And this is really awesome. So that brings us to the end of the video. Okay, in order to recap what we did in this video, first we integrated our local MCP server to Cursor IDE, like how we did last time for Claude Desktop. Second, we introduced some new tools to our MCP server. Then we used GitHub MCP server to perform GitHub operations like git commit, git add, get creation of pull request. And lastly, we use rules in order to orchestrate all the GitHub tools so that we can have a pull request from just a code change. Hey, I appreciate it. You have been with me for so long and you have reached the end of the video. So until next time, when I have a new video out, we'll keep learning, because I also learn something new when I do these guides and tutorials. But if you have any constructive feedback for me, please let me know on the comment section. And yeah, do subscribe if you want to see my videos. Thank you and bye-bye.